I hear Florence.
We can hear Florence.
Yeah, she's just playing over on the carpet, aren't you? She's being very good.
That's good. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we will.
Not when you're in the middle of something.
Always, yeah.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Uh,
I can have a slide up, or just give us just a little general introduction.
okay, sure. So start now? Okay, so hi everybody, my name's Gillett. I'm an Adelaide-based maker and artist.
So, do you want me to flick through these slides and you can talk about your work as a starting point? Or
Yeah, sure, we can. How about we start with the questions first and then I can go on to,
right.
then we can go on to the works if that's all right.
What are you working on these days?
So I'm working on textile works at the moment after quite a few years of trying my hand at drawing and illustration and a bit of painting. I've really found a very comfortable space with textiles and predominantly embroidery. So yeah, that's where I'm focusing at the moment.
Fantastic. How has the COVID-19 pandemic and associated isolation and new protocols affected your life and creative practice?
Yeah, well, that's really interesting, Nikki. I previously was studying full-time at uni, so everything I was making was really heavily based around that. And then late last year, I went on maternity leave and had my daughter Florence, and then the pandemic started around March, I think. So I was in a position where I really was able to focus on just whatever I wanted to make without having to think too much about the outcome or what I was doing it for. So, but there was a lot of boundaries around that, obviously, with a little bubs, you know, space and time and energy, all that sort of stuff. So it really became a discovery of what I really wanted to do for myself when I had those precious little moments. So yeah, that was when the textiles and embroidering really came out for me.
Is that something you'd had an earlier interest in and returned to, or was it fairly new for you?
It actually was. I studied fashion design and worked as a product development assistant for R&M Williams for about 6 years. And I'd always just done crafty stuff, but I guess it took a long time to see the value in that.
Yeah. But also, I suppose, as far as being something that's reasonably portable and you can pick it up and do a little bit at a time.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, and I don't find myself having to get into a particular headspace either. You know, if I just do a little bit, it's just as satisfying as if I get a lot more done.
That's great.
Yeah.
So, what are you learning?
Mostly I've been learning how to operate more in this forum, the online world, and how to really push and challenge myself. So learning how to just strike up conversations, I guess, with people in that realm is pretty new for me. So it's given me a lot more confidence, I suppose. And I've met a couple of really wonderful people that way, surprisingly, which is a really positive outcome, I suppose, to something that, you know, not so fantastic.
Are you using it for creative purposes as much as like proper work as well? Or?
What do you mean, Donna?
Anything to do with your art practice?
No, I kind of always dabbled a tiny bit with digital work, mostly editing photos and that sort of stuff. So yeah, I still just kind of plop along in that way, I suppose. I haven't gone too far outside that just yet. I like the hands-on stuff, I think, a lot more, the more tangible things.
Yep, I agree.
How has community featured in your COVID making time?
We actually recently moved up to the hills, so a lot of it has been about discovering the community up here, which is really wonderful, by the way. and yeah, trying to just explore how I can become more involved. So there's just art everywhere up here. It's an absolute mecca for visual artists and makers. It's really inspiring. So yeah, just exploring places like Handorf Academy and Fabric, for example. Yeah.
So what kind of inspiration are you finding in those new things that you're seeing and people you're meeting?
Everything feels really earthy and grounding, to be honest. You know, there's a lot of work that styles that I don't do myself, but I really enjoy looking at. You know, people seem to do a lot of work around nature, and you're just kind of quite immersed in it out here a bit more than in the suburbs, obviously. So yeah.
Yeah, it's unavoidable, isn't it, when you
It
surrounded
is.
by it?
It is, yeah, and it's just gorgeous.
And do you think it's changed the kind of work you're doing at all?
Not really. No, I'm pretty focused on my colour and quite bold imagery, which I've always been into. But I suppose it does make me think about the details and things a little bit more, and how to sort of bring stuff back to relating to real life, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm.
There's a vibe up there, isn't there? The hills vibe.
Absolutely, yeah, and it feels really supportive, you know, like people talk about their art and people do it as a lifestyle, and because it's something that, you know, is such an integral part of them. Yeah, and I love that.
Yeah, I remember discovering it when I used to come from, you know, the country, and I used to come down, and it was like, yeah, it was very special kind of vibe that comes just out of the Adelaide Hills.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
And I think the final question is about practice. And finally, for us, our practice is a labour of love. How have you reconciled that?
Yes, well, that's interesting too. I struggled for a long time with the lack of security that came along with being an artist. So I had to find a good balance between my work life and my creative practice that I felt comfortable with. I'm lucky enough to have found that now in a really fantastic job that I have. I also struggle at times with art being quite a selfish endeavour, and trying to find a way to counteract that. So I'm actually doing a collaborative piece with a fabulous woman called Sophie of New Forms Apparel, and she does zero waste fashion design. So we decided to donate part of our proceeds, hopefully we make some proceeds, of our work together to a women's shelter in Adelaide called Catherine House. So I think that's a way that I can find to try to, you know, interact with the community a little bit and just give something back through what I'm doing with my art.
Oh, that sounds exciting.
Thanks. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it, and Sophie's fabulous. So
yeah, I know Sophie. She used to cut my hair.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, she does mine too. Yeah, she's incredible.
Yeah, her garments are beautiful. So what sort of collaboration are you planning? Is it?
So she's making a garment, and I'm going to embroider it. So we're basing the image on another woman that I know who I think is really inspiring. So yeah, that's in the works at the moment. We're both really looking forward to it.
Can't wait to see where that goes.
Thank you. Same.
And would you like to, I'll go back to the first image. Would you like to share about the images?
Yeah, I'd love to, Nikki. Thanks. This one, say again?
I'd love to hear all about them. I've been looking at them.
Yeah, so thank you. This one is an embroidered woman, and this is the sort of style of thing that I'm planning on doing with Sophie. So my intention with these images is I'm really just trying to develop my style at the moment with these. But really, I just want to have a way of encouraging women to feel good about themselves. And I think embroidery is a really great way to try to do that, given its history as, you know, really traditional women's work. And obviously there's a lot of domesticity in the tradition of embroidery. So it's really fun to think you can take quite a subversive approach to that, and just create really colourful, hopefully really unapologetic pieces. So yeah, I enjoy working on these. Also very meditative.
What scale is it?
This one's probably half of A4, but I have plans for much bigger
Yeah, I can
works.
see a huge scale.
Yeah, I'd like to do life-size pieces if I kind of get that far. That's, you know, big dreams.
Gotta have them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is this one of a series? I've seen some other of your works like along this, similar lines.
Yeah. This is one of two that they were the first two that I did.
Yeah.
So they started the ball rolling really. And yeah, I've got plans for some other. I've always taken photographs of women and kind of myself, because I'm the only, you know, I'm the easiest reference I've got, I suppose. Yep. So yeah, I've got a lot of old work that I can actually use, you know, that I thought would just get shoved in a cupboard somewhere, but I can actually use now as inspiration for these pieces. And I've got a lot of amazing friends who, you know, have photographs of themselves that I can also use. I'd like to be able to tell people's stories through these embroideries as well, you know, take the focus away from me. That was just a starting point. Yeah. So lots of inspiration there for sure.
I love the way you described it as unapologetic.
Thank you. Yeah, well, you know, like embroidery was really quite historically, I suppose, a way of sort of being like, this is what the perfect woman is supposed to be, and we don't think like that anymore. So it's a nice reference to that, I think, for anyone who does embroidery.
Well, you're giving it a new life, which is exciting.
Yeah. Thanks.
I know some people say to me, "Oh, I only do embroidery." Like,
only?
Yeah, I know. I'd love to have that skill.
Yeah, we've actually got an embroidery we've got some from my family history and from my partner's family history hanging in our house. My partner's grandma designed her own embroideries and artwork, you know, completely self-taught, just gorgeous works. And my nanny was a big embroiderer. Yeah, she did massive Australiana scenes.
Wow.
So it's not just the historical act of embroidering in itself, it's that it is actually a family thing for you as well. And
yeah, which, you know, I didn't think about for a long time, and then suddenly it was staring me in the face.
Oh, what a great way for it to be uncovered like that.
Yeah, a nice surprise for everybody. Maybe mostly me.
To see your work? Has she seen your...
No, she died quite a few years ago, so that's all right.
I'm sure that...
Yeah.
Unapologetic.
Yes. I just need to lift my little girl up. She's stuck in her tummy. Is that all right?
Yeah, can we meet her?
Of course. I'll be 1 second.
I'll flip to the next work. Have you seen this one, Donna?
on Instagram I have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Would have been nice for yesterday. Here's Florence.
This is Florence.
Oh, this is great.
I'm not sure how she's going to go with these cords. She will probably try to tear them out.
Hi, Florence.
Say hello.
Yeah. Do you want to have a go at telling us about this one?
Sure, yeah. So this was a piece that really just started because I wanted to explore with some textile applications. So I also, hey honey, I also wanted to try to challenge myself by doing an all black piece, which didn't work out because I just, you know, black's such a fantastic base for making colour pops. So I think with this piece, what really became clear to me was how much life gets reflected in the making process. You know, the things that I start focusing on in the canvas become the things that I think about in life. So, you know, it was titled Compromise. I was thinking a lot about what compromises we're happy to make within our relationships. And, oh, don't eat it. No, no, no. And then also, you know, like when I was thinking about what details I could add to it. Here you go, Chucky. Here you go. I was thinking about people in my life who are really good at paying attention to those details about you, the things that, you know, make you feel really special and loved. So that was just a nice piece to work on in that kind of realm.
Oh, beautiful.
Thank you.
Let's flick to the next one while we've got you.
Yeah, so this one is a print that I created from a larger sculptural piece. And you can see that it's mostly origami, which I just find really therapeutic to make. It's just, you know, and that shape, the triangle, I always just come back to making that one shape over and over again, which is fabulous because it's, you know, a triangle is the strongest shape in the world, so quite symbolic to me. Something else makes me feel really grounded. And yeah, there's also some beads in this piece that got handed down to me through a couple of generations of family. So again, just thinking about family, everyone's got interesting family histories and I'm no exception. And my place within that. So yeah, that was whoops. What about this one? So this is life during the pandemic. And art during the pandemic. Yeah. And then that.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, sorry, Nikki, the next piece is this was framed the same as this next piece by a friend of mine called Pat from Grit Designs. So that was using repurposed floorboards, and it's got a lot of lovely imperfections in it, but that craft piece was really, really fun for me. I was in the early days of having Florence, and we hadn't gotten out and about very much yet. So I was feeling a bit nervous about, you know, what might happen when you go out with a baby, if they scream or do a poo or, you know, anything could happen. But we went for a walk in the park. And there were these big seed pods on the ground, these big spiky seed pods. And I said to my partner, oh, gosh, like we used to call them Tommy knockers. And I realised what a not very appropriate reference that was. But you don't know that when you're a kid, and it, you know, they come from the bommy knocker trees. So the little Pom Pom down the bottom is a reference to that. But it just got me thinking about how important it is to be a kid, and to not make them grow up too soon or too fast. And I guess the thing about being a mother that I really didn't expect at all is you get to see this little person experience things for the first time and all the wonder and joy that comes along with that, and they just get so excited about everything.
Yep.
Yeah, so I just really wanted to try to reflect that feeling in this piece, and particularly during the pandemic, I guess that's really important for everyone to be able to try to find those little places, you know, without the weight of the world.
Beautiful.
Thanks.
Interesting. Fantastic.
What artists would you say are inspirations to you, Cara?
Just life in general, I suppose. There's stuff everywhere, isn't it? Yeah, you guys would feel that, I'm sure, as a maker. Yep. I think I kind of see things through tinted glasses a lot of the times. You see the parallels in a lot of stuff, and I'm a big overthinker, but I think that's part of what makes me an artist. Yep. So yeah, just, and the, you know, people in your life, always very inspiring.
That's for sure.
Like this one. Hey?
Has she been into your art supplies yet?
No, that's in a separate room. That's Mummy's room. Yeah, she's a bit too little for that yet, but I'm definitely looking forward to being able to show her a few things.
There'll be all these different things included in your work once she starts being involved, I think.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it will probably really change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can you talk me through the actual construction of these pieces? I'm intrigued. I love the layering, but how are they getting creative?
To be perfectly honest, my partner likes cars, and he has this really fantastic glue that will stick anything to anything. So that's my secret weapon. What I can't stitch together, I glue. Or thread things, or everything that I make is usually very directed by the materials. I never have a plan. I just often I'll start with a color theme often, and just say, what have I got that's in hot pink, and neon yellow is going to go with that. And as you know about me, Donna, I've got this obsession going on at the moment with netting and tulle, so almost everything's got that in it. And that takes me like that. I used to dance when I was younger, so that's a really nice feeling of using costume type fabrics and having that sense of theatre and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Nikki, can we look back at the white creation? These are insanely beautiful. How did you see them there? Incredible.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thanks. It's about half a string of beads, I guess.
Okay. It's really cool.
Thanks.
I like the family references. That's kind of inspired me to think about it myself.
Yeah, well, I guess those sorts of little things, they come up without you even thinking about it. It's that whole life being reflected in the making again. Like when you've got a craft collection, I'm sure a lot of people out there would know you've just got so many different bibs and bobs, and you hold on to it for years. And then one day it's just the perfect thing that you need to use for this particular piece, and it's obviously where your mind is at the time.
That's it.
Yeah.
And especially the things that you think you're saving because they're too precious to do anything else. When you finally let go of that, you can find some pretty cool things to work with them.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point as well. Yeah.
Hey. Was there any questions from anyone joining us today for Cara?
Hello.
You know me, I'm always up for a question, if that's all right.
Go for it.
So I'm not a sewer, Cara, so I don't know much about it. But I am a printmaker, and you talked about, and it's also on your Instagram page, about stitching and embroidery as a rebellious act of subversion. I wondered, could you expand on that?
Good question.
Sure, Simone, nice to meet you.
Hi.
Whoops, we lost. I think maybe Florence was involved. Oh no, she's back.
Sorry. that was definitely a Florence mishap. Yeah, I'm not very good at repeating what I learned in textbooks, so just bear with me. But I think because what I was trying to say before with embroidery, women used to do samplers, and they would show that from what I learned to their prospective husbands and partners.
Yes.
Oh, Chucky. And so, and I guess the one thing I never really wanted to be was a kept woman. I suppose you want to create your own destiny and have control over your future, which of course we all do. And so every time I stitch, I guess I just think of these women who that was almost something that showed their value to the rest of the world, which in retrospect in some ways isn't such a terrible thing, and they had amazing skill. And I like to think of it as a positive thing, like stitching is something that I can do to mend my family's clothes, or, do other little things that, show my love and care of support. That's a skill that I've got that I can use. And I see that as a really good thing, but it is quite subversive. You see a lot of people doing stitching in a very political sense. And I do steer away of that, but you can't always escape it. It's kind of there historically anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hey.
I think too, when you're talking about mending and stitch in regards to that, mending's absolutely a subversive act against the fashion, like fast fashion, you know, phenomena as well. And you having come from working in a fashion capacity, I like that there's that contrast as well.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And it was very directed, the work that I did in fashion, and I guess I shied away from that after a few years because I'm an artist and I don't like to be told what to do.
Good work.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you see these embroideries going to a bigger scale and onto wearable things. Have you got any other ideas about what you might stretch them to?
So far, I generally always just get really big pictures in my mind. You know, I'd like to do a life-size woman embroidered, but I'm not too sure what sort of space that should be in. To, you know, there's always a bit of a fine line between what makes it. What am I trying to say? Yeah, there's just always I'm not too sure how to put into words what I'm thinking. But yeah, life-size pieces, you know, how do I make it empowered rather than giving the opposite impression, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do always try to think about that. Yeah. Hey.
Well, it sounds like a really exciting thing to be exploring anyway. I love it. And I love that you're using photos of people that you have a relationship with as well. I think that's
totally
another whole layer to it.
Oh, I love how you're doing this for us.
Hello. Can you say hello?
Hi, Florence.
Hello.
Hi, Florence.
She's totally intrigued, as you can see, but not too sure what's going on. Oh, there we go.
What a superstar.
She is. She's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for your time and for your presentation. It's been lovely to see you and your work.
Thank you so much, Nikki. I was so honoured to be asked. I'm just absolutely stoked to meet everybody, and yeah, pleased for you guys that the conference has gone really well.
Sorry, tell us about Auntie Rara.
Oh.
It's a great name.
Yeah, that nickname was given to me by a girlfriend, Jessie, who no one ever thought that I was going to have a baby, let alone me. But I had a lot. There were, you know, a lot of my friends have got kids, and I've got nephews in my family. So she said, you should call yourself Auntie Rara. You know, everyone's auntie and no one's mother. And sorry.
And look what's happened.
I know. Look what happened. Best thing ever.
Auntie Rara.
Yeah, but the Auntie Rara sticks, which I think is very sweet.
Yeah, great. I'll let you go. Yeah, that's Kara's Instagram, so you can continue to follow along and be involved. And we will put the feedback information back up here again. So there's the there in the chat if you want to go and give us feedback. Very, very useful, and continue the conversation. So thanks so much, Kara, for being involved.
Thanks so much for having me, Nikki and Donna.
Our pleasure.
Thank you. Enjoy the sunny day.
I will. You too. Thanks.
See you later.
See you,
Bye.
Florence.
Say bye, bye.
Florence.
Bye. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
We will now have a lunch break. We're finished